The Elgin Police Department is dedicated to working in partnership with the community to promote safety and enhance the quality of life by serving with professionalism, encouraging open communication, and embracing diversity.
Engaged.
Partnering with our citizens and involved in our community.
Progressive.
Embracing innovative strategies while maintaining proven practices.
Dedicated.
Serving with integrity and professionalism. Elgin became an incorporated city in 1854 and installed its first police marshal, George W. Renwick. Over the years, the title of the head law enforcement officer changed from marshal to chief. And although the role has expanded, one duty has remained consistent: to ensure law and order for the citizens of Elgin.
It's time now for Fridays with the Finest, featuring Elgin's current police chief, Anna Lally, on Elgin's hometown radio station since 1949, WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
And good morning, everybody. We are here, Fridays with the Finest. Chief Anna Lally. Good morning, Chief. How are you doing today?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. I bet your hands are full with this festivities coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So, I'm here today to kind of talk a little bit about what's happening tomorrow, some things that have happened this week. And, let's kind of start off with the events that are happening tomorrow, the 4th of July, the parade, and then the concert and firework later in the evening. So just, some basic information for people who maybe are thinking about going tomorrow and attending. So the parade tomorrow morning starts at 9 a.m. at Douglas and Slade. So 9 a.m. bright and early. And I will start out by saying, the weather, when we do special events, it's a constant looking to see what does the weather look like. Will the city have to cancel? So those questions I don't have answers for you right now because the weather is unpredictable. So, but I will say this is that follow the city's Facebook, follow our Facebook, obviously for any changes, any significant issues with the weather. We're going to be pushing out that information as soon as possible. So that the community knows. So that's the best place to find your information is the City of Elgin's Facebook, and then also our Facebook and the fire department's Facebook. So
the social media platforms, don't call the 311, don't tie that up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing to do is if people are saying, is the parade going to, is the parade going to happen? Is the parade going to happen? Those decisions are made, they're not going to be made right now, obviously, because the weather changes. Even since Monday, the weather has changed, the forecast. So just follow those pages. Be aware. We will make sure to push that information out as soon as possible. So that's first and foremost. But if the weather is good and tomorrow everything is happening, so the parade will start at 9 a.m. at Douglas and Slade, and it ends in front of the police department. It takes about an hour or so, an hour and a half, for all the floats to make its way through. So I lead the parade. I usually have Chief Sagan with me, so I think he might be there or one of his members. We're pretty, we keep the pace going, right? Because there's a lot of floats. And, you sometimes when you see a parade if there's like too much space in between, I've been to parades where you're like, well, okay, well, that's nice.
You got to wait for the next one.
Yeah, wait for that. It's like 10 minutes. So we try to keep a good pace here.
And that's usually media that stops them up because they want to get an interview.
Yeah, they want, or, people are throwing candy or, this stuff like that. So, but myself and I lead the parade. And again, like I said, it's usually with Chief Sagan or one of his members of his command staff. And so 9 a.m. we're usually done. It takes me about an hour, not even, to make it to, down to the police station. So thereafter, but the parade should end at about 11 overall. So a couple things I just want to mention about some road closures. So anticipation of the parade, the streets will be marked as no parking and only open to local traffic beginning on Saturday, tomorrow at 7 a.m. And these streets are Douglas from Slade to Kimball, Brook from Slade to Kimball, and Grove from Slade to Kimball. So again, those roads will be marked as no parking and open to only local traffic tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. The streets that will be closed to vehicle traffic from 7 to noon And again, any vehicles that are parked on these streets after 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, we will be towing. So again, these streets are closed to vehicle traffic from 7 a.m. until noon. And that would be Kimball from Douglas to Grove, Douglas from River Bluff to Chicago Street, and then Highland to Spring to Grove. So again, if you have a vehicle parked on any of those streets at 6 o'clock, so our traffic unit goes out there, we start clearing the route. So, make sure that you move your car. We do make attempts to get a hold of somebody, so it's not like we just show up and we tow. We obviously try to contact the vehicle owner, but again, in anticipation, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts that happen in the morning, so the officers would appreciate, and I would appreciate if you guys could, please, if your vehicle's on that road, just get it off for us, because there's a lot of things happening. All cross streets between Spring and Douglas from Kimball and Highland are closed during the parade hours, and that's to allow for the parade to disband. So the following streets are closed to any type of vehicle traffic from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So this is now the whole day. So that's in the morning for the parade, but now the entire day from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. tomorrow, Grove to Prairie to Lake will be shut down and closed to vehicle traffic, and any vehicles that are there on that route will be towed.
And this is all published on the
Yes.
City of Elgin
So
website.
we just pushed this out on our Facebook page this morning with these road closures. It is on the city's website. So again, just pay attention, because this is the other thing. So sometimes, if people are not, wanting to come to the parade, but they're just, they're doing their normal business, and they come down and they see the roads are shut down and there's a lot of vehicle traffic. It can be very frustrating for people. So again, this is a lot of the work that goes ahead of a time, which is if you're going or need to come into this area, please be advised of the roads that are closed. And again, the vehicle tows, because we are not, there's a process for us to, there's a lot of planning. We plan for the 4th of July, the parade, the fireworks. This goes on for months. We fine-tune a lot of stuff this past week, and even up into the morning of, before we do our brief, there's a lot of moving parts, and we still, do a lot of changes. So one of those things, though, is that, if there's vehicles on the route, we will tow. We will make an attempt to notify someone, but there's been a lot of information given out so that people hopefully know. So from 7 tomorrow until 11, 7 a.m. until 11 p.m., again, Grove Street from Prairie to Lake will be completely shut down. That is anticipation of the concert and the fireworks show. And then starting at 3 o'clock, the National Street Bridge from State to Grove will be shut down. And that's obviously because they prepare for fireworks. So it takes a lot of time for the company to come out, to set up, to make sure things are safe. So that also includes any type of pedestrian traffic. So if you are going to be coming from the west side to the east side and you want to use the National Street Bridge, at 3 o'clock, that street will be closed to you. So there is, a lot of times we get people say, well, it's not a car, I just want to walk through. We will not allow pedestrians to be walking through while fireworks are being set up. It's a safety thing. And it's also just, we have to kind of set a standard here for people to realize, like, you cannot be over there. And if you are over there, you're going to be asked to leave. So, we want to obviously, I've been at many 4th of July parades and events, and, it is a great day for the city. It's a fun event. It's a great day for families. It's a great day to come together as a community. And in that, we just ask that people be respectful. Tomorrow is going to be respectful of, what's going on, right? There's going to be a lot of congestion in traffic once the fireworks are let out. We do our best to ensure that there's a smooth route of travel and that it's fluid and that, cars don't get backed up. Every year we fine tune our ops plan to ensure that we're doing better and better and better, but there are some things we cannot control. So, and traffic is one of them in terms of how fast people drive and whether or not they're paying attention. So just know the officers, there's over 100 officers who will be working tomorrow. It's a long day. We get in, our briefing is at 6:45 in the morning. So, I usually get in around 6. And then we are here until midnight and sometimes even after midnight. So it's a long day for the officers. It's a long day for the fire personnel, our public works, a lot of city workers. I want to give, some kudos to Amanda Harris, who runs our special events for the city. She is phenomenal. She does an amazing job. And this is a lot of, this is like probably one of what she would consider her Super Bowl, that, and I think Nightmare on Chicago Street.
Yeah, now 2 days.
But she's amazing. She does an amazing job. And so, we appreciate the relationship that we have with the city, with our fire department, with our public works department. You'll see the public works people came and dropped the barricades already last night. So there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes for that people to have an enjoyable day. And we want everyone to have a really great day. And part of that is just, please be patient with the officers.
And the structure that they put up is already in place.
It's
like
already
you
there.
say, the city workers have been out. They've been putting up the no parking signs just to remind everybody.
Yes.
They've been doing everything in advance.
Yes.
They've got day of, the chief makes sure that there's the protective barricades. I believe you're using school buses again in
Yes.
certain areas.
Yep.
So safety should not be a concern. Be careful, be vigilant, keep your eyes open, see what's going on, but you are protected very well.
Yeah, so we, again, I just wanted to mention the parking thing, just the streets that are closed. Again, you can find this information on the city's Facebook, or you can go to our Facebook. We just posted it this morning. The next thing, too, is, so the parade starts at 9, it ends at 11. At that point, between like 11 and 3, a lot of cleanups is done down here in front of the police department and the parade route, and then we transition over to Festival Park. The festival will start at 5 o'clock, and again, contingent upon the weather. We're not sure. That's a very fluid. We can't make that determination because, again, the weather is unpredictable. So at 5 o'clock, though, the fireworks and concert starts down at Festival Park. And so with that, again, we ask, Grove will be closed and shut down. If you are going to drive to the event, the city has information on their website about where parking is located in public parking decks. So we would ask, obviously, there's a lot of businesses down by the casino, down by Times Square. So those are private lots, and those lots are meant for their patrons. So if you are not, going to the casino or going to Butera or in that area there, we would ask that you do not park in those lots. Those are meant for people that are visiting the retailers. So the casino actually will have somebody at the entrances of their parking deck. And then, certain areas of the Butera parking lot will be blocked off too. So please, again, just to be respectful of everyone, there's people who are not really interested in going to a concert or fireworks. They just want to go get their groceries, or they just want to go get their Buffalo Wild Wings, or they want to get their coffee. So, just be respectful of that. That's all we ask. We do work with the businesses, and we, again, it's a all hands on deck here. And, we do the best we can to ensure that everyone's concerns are being addressed. And if there's any issues that come up that day, we are more than happy to, address them, pivot if we need to. So if there are any issues and you do call 911, especially, this is the other thing I want to mention. So the 4th of July, the fireworks, after the fireworks, so the fireworks are anticipated to be around 9:20, okay? So the concert and fireworks show starts at 5, anticipated fireworks around 9:20, again, contingent upon whether or not the event happens, weather, all these different things. The fireworks are usually about 20 minutes after the fireworks. The event ends at 10 o'clock. And so what we ask is that at 10 o'clock that people leave the area. A lot of times I will tell you people watch the fireworks and then they leave. So, and then if you are in a vehicle, just be patient with the flow of traffic. It does take a little bit of time. But if you are calling tomorrow 911 for fireworks complaints, or if you are putting information, sending us information through our transparency page where we've gotten a lot of people going on there, we would ask that just, obviously we do dispatch officers, but if there is a significant or major event, that call may not be answered. The fireworks call may not be answered. We are obviously their priority, so if we have something of a violent nature, something of a physical harm, something that is the priority. And therefore the fireworks call may take some time. So please just be patient, because that is something that comes up every year. I called 911 for fireworks, and the officers didn't show up for 2 or 3 hours. And, I preemptively will tell the community, that is because we're probably dealing with something of a higher priority, and we ask that people be patient with us. Obviously, if there's a fireworks issue where somebody is hurt, that's a priority. So, personal safety is the number one priority. So please be patient with us. I think the overall, anecdotally, I would say the fireworks calls, are not what it, in my opinion, not what it was, a few years ago. I'll get some data next week and share that with the community once we kind of get over the 4th of July area here. But I do know the fireworks are very controversial. Some people say, have at it, and some people say absolutely not. Again, this is just where if people call the police and they have an issue, we respond. And it's not our place to give our opinion on whether or not we agree with their complaint or not, right? We are here to serve our entire community, to be fair, to be respectful, and also to ensure that people have a safe environment for whatever it is that they choose to do. If they want to go to a fireworks show, they don't want to go to a fireworks show. So a lot of this information, I want to just push out to the community and just, let the community know that we absolutely, truly appreciate, our partnership with them. And, when we have days like this, it's a lot of work for the department that goes on in the background. And, we are here to ensure that you guys are safe, and we want everyone to have an enjoyable event. So parking, again, please do not park in parking lots that are meant for, private parking lots that are meant for retail businesses. There are plenty of city parking lots throughout the city that you can walk to. Some of those parking decks do fill up, obviously sooner rather than later. So depending on what time that you want to go, or you can walk. But just remember that after 3 o'clock, you will not be able to cross the National Street Bridge. So a lot of planning, and again, this is it's all hands on deck, and I just want to tell everyone thank you beforehand, all the officers, firefighters, public works, city personnel for everything that they have done up until this point. I also want to mention Commander Scott Holmes and Lieutenant Marcy Colgate, who run our special events. Scott has been doing a lot of work. He's over our strategic initiatives division, so this is kind of like when we get really, really busy. So in the winter, it's a little bit less, but during this time, it's busy. So thank you to them, our traffic division, Lieutenant Marcy Colgate, everyone that's been working, on our safety for the event. So any questions, please give us a call. Watch our social media for anything with weather-related items. Watch the city's Facebook page, and I think that covers that.
That phone number, just to repeat and reiterate to everybody, if you want to report a fireworks violation, you call 847-289-2700, 847-289-2700. You may be at the party, and everybody's partying 250 years. This is something to celebrate, but not everybody's in that party. So police calls have to come, and they will always come first. Fireworks are important, too, especially if they're being operated unsafely. Make the phone call, but make that call to 847-289-2700 if you're calling about the neighbor blowing off fire.
Or you can go on our transparency site, and there is a link that you can click that you can send it in, and it goes directly to our communications center. So, and again, if there is a fireworks incident where someone is hurt, you need to call 911. So either way, 911 for any of it. If it's just I'm hearing fireworks, that 2700 number, or our online portal. So. But yeah, so that's the first thing. Obviously, a lot of things going on tomorrow. I will be there. Where are you guys going to be? Are you going to be in front of the station?
No, we're going to be down by right by Douglas.
By Douglas.
I mean, Danny's Pizza.
Danny's Pizza. Okay, so
Where
I'll
we
see
were
you
last
guys.
year. Yeah,
Yep.
you're the
So as soon as I end the parade, I'll swing around and jump on the radio and just kind of wish everyone a happy 4th of July.
Always our number one guest.
Yep, and so I will make sure to do that. So. All right, that is the main thing, and that we have some time here, about 8-9 minutes here, and I want to talk about the event that's going on with the missing person investigation that's been going on since last Friday. So I want to get some information out to the community to ensure, first and foremost, as I've said many, many times, the information that comes from the Elgin Police Department is the most accurate information. So if you have any questions about something that's going on, I encourage people to reach out to us. Please call us, ask us, because I want people to have the right information. Sometimes it's, this is, again, social media is good, social media is bad. There's sometimes some unintended consequences to what people think, is being helpful. So, I appreciate everyone's interest, but please, 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 if you have questions, please call us, check our Facebook page. We're more than happy to answer any questions. So last week on Friday, which, this started basically on Friday, June 26th, and this was about 10:52 in the morning. So our officers were dispatched to the area of Highland Avenue and State Street for a male subject that was reported to have interfered with a railroad operation. So when officers show up to the scene, they attempt to interact with the male, and whereupon he then runs on foot and he enters into the Fox River. When he was fleeing from our officers, a large knife was observed on him. So officers were giving verbal commands to attempt to gain compliance from him to exit the river, and did not have success with that. At one point, he exits the water and he jumps onto Walton Island for a brief period, and then he goes back into the Fox River. And at this time, the knife is still observed on him. So as officers are they're on the banks of the river, and they're trying to anticipate his path of travel. We contact, obviously, the Elgin Fire Department, and the Elgin Fire Department and the police department. They have their boat that's docked, and so we were able to get onto the boat, and they quickly entered into the water to try to grab the individual, but we were not successful in locating him. The Elgin Fire Department had, many neighboring fire departments to help assist with the rescue. Exactly. And that the efforts to locate this person continued throughout the afternoon and the evening, and continued throughout the day on Saturday. But the individual was not located. So on Sunday, a missing persons report was filed regarding a male subject who closely matched the description of the male who went into the Fox River. And at this point, though, we are not identifying, currently the identity of the male is being withheld pending a recovery and a positive identification. Rescue efforts continued through Saturday. An exhaustive search of the Fox River was conducted. And then this week, too, the fire department has been out there. So there is nothing further at this time to tell the community. Again, when the point comes, there will be information that will be provided to the community. So I want to mention again, because I know that there have been some efforts or some reports about, potentially I saw an article about, a serial killer in the river. And I know that this has been kind of going on social media for the past, I want to say, couple of weeks. I think NBC5 just did an article too about. So I will say this, is that if there was something of that magnitude or happening, the Elgin community would be notified. So we would be very deliberate and very specific in what we would say. So I want people to know that I know that social media, again, it's very helpful. When we have missing people, we push information out. We've found people. But if there was something of that gravity, that magnitude, that is something that we would tell the Elgin community if we believed that was happening or thought or potentially, right, within.
And I just pulled it up. NBC5 confirms the same thing, that there is no evidence of suburban serial killer, despite recent social media rumors sparking panic over a string of death investigations where bodies were found in the Fox River. Police attribute these incidents to unrelated causes like accidents or drownings.
Yes.
So
yes.
We're trying to get the word out there,
So I think it's important to at least, and I'll just speak for the Elgin community, because obviously I am the Elgin police chief. It is very important to me, and I think that, I've made it, that has been the mission of the Elgin Police Department, is to be transparent with the community. Hence our transparency hub, hence our cold case unit, hence putting all this information. We would, because we would at some point, we need the community, right? And so you have to advise the community of what's going on so that they can help or so that they can assist. And so, I want the community to know that, there are things, obviously when we're investigating very sensitive crimes, we push out on social media what we think is appropriate. and also sensitive to the family, sensitive to the investigation. So there's a balance there, right? And it's not, I know that people want more, sometimes they want less, but it's more of an art rather than a science, right? Because every single case is very different. Sometimes the family doesn't want people's information if they're missing. The family doesn't want that pushed out to the whole world for various reasons, and sometimes families do. So there isn't a template. If this happens, use this template. That's not how it works at the Elgin Police Department, right? We're very, when we get to the point where we can release information, we do. We obviously take into consideration community safety, but there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes, especially with social media, that it's not as simple as just say everything and because whatever you push out, you can never take back, and that's a very that's a predicament that sometimes you don't want to find yourself in that predicament, right? So if you take a little bit heat, basically of why are you not telling us more, as opposed to why did you say something that wasn't true, right? Yeah. I'd rather take the first heat and
like Dragnet, Joe Gannon, just the facts.
Yeah.
Elgin Police will always put out the facts once they have them available.
Yeah, and the facts too. Again, it's you have to be. There's a lot of things that are I think if you think about even our cold case.
Sensitive.
There's a family behind these people, right? There's a family associated. There's people who are in that person's life that you have to consider their feelings, their emotions, what goes out to the public. How do they want to explain that? Can they explain that, right? But if there's anything with a public safety concern, we absolutely will tell the community. I've said that many, many, many times on the radio show, and we do that. That's why we have social media. That's why we have a transparency page. That's why we're here on the radio show, right? It's important to me that the community knows. We appreciate our community. We appreciate people that call and tell us. We get tips on our cold cases, tips on crimes. It is a partnership. It is a true partnership, and there's all I would say is there's a lot that goes into it, and I just really appreciate when people do call us and reach out, because then we have the opportunity to tell the right information. So that's important to me. I wanted to talk about that because I did see the chatter. Obviously I have a PIO, and I'm aware of things that are going on social media. Social media is good, and sometimes it's not, right? Ask anyone who's been ever publicly criticized on social media. It's not fun, right? But it comes with the business. It comes with the nature of what we do. And my goal and my mission has always been to be transparent with our community, supportive, and truly build a partnership. And I think we've seen some really good things happen from that. So. Regardless of what happens, good or bad, I'm here, right? Unless I'm on vacation. I was on vacation last week. But regardless of, good, bad, or otherwise, I am here to answer questions.
And you have proven that time and time again. Elgin Police responds to every question. Chief Anna Lally on this show, totally transparent. She shares everything that she can. You always hear those thoughts and prayers. That's what she's talking about. Those people that are the victim or whatever is involved, we always say, our prayers with the family, their thoughts and prayers. Well, respect that. Don't be blurbing a bunch of stuff on the social media if you don't know what's going on. Let the professionals do it, okay?
Yeah, and I think you also just have to, kind of, again, with the social media aspect and victims, it's, I have said, sometimes the victims are the forgotten people in the criminal justice system. And I won't, I'm not, as much as I can, as best as I can within my ability, I'm not going to let that happen, right? Hence the reason why we start a cold case unit, right? I'm not going to let that happen. I think it's important that those families receive closure. I think it's important that for, people's peace, right, which is very relative to people. I will tell you, for me personally, if something happened to a person that I care deeply for, and for 45 years or 40 years, I never knew what happened, that would be maddening to me. It would be absolutely, so for me, I kind of look at it through that lens and try to say, in this time, at this moment, we are the people that can do these things, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it as best as we can, as much as we can, to honor the victims, to honor their families, to be their voice, to be their support, to be their advocates. And we have seen some really great things with our community, that they come around people. I mean, the Karen Sheepers case was a prime example of that. The love that the family was shown by people that they didn't even know. And there is no doubt in my mind that that helped with their piece, right? And you know, that Karen mattered, that she was a person. And so those things matter, you know, in the big scheme of life, right? You know, those things matter. It's the big things that, you know, you know, I think a lot of times people wait for the big moments, you know.
And your cold case unit that you developed, Chief, and it's somebody knows something. Any way you get your social media, go ahead and just plug in there. Somebody knows something. Go to our website as well. It doesn't matter, the police department's website. You'll see the work that they're doing. You'll hear the different episodes. And the way they do it is so tactful. It is so, they give dignity to the family, dignity to the victim. They don't make any, you know, just off the hip, oh, yeah, this guy did it, or we think this is going on. This is an investigation, and they treat it as such, and they do. They give great dignity to all involved, and I applaud your department for that and your division.
Okay, so that wraps it up. Again, if anyone has any questions about anything going on in Elgin, anything, please call us. Call me. You know, I'm more than happy to answer questions. Tomorrow, 4th of July, everyone celebrate responsibly. You know, make sure that, you know, if there's issues, give us a call, let us know what's going on. But I hope everyone has a safe, enjoyable, happy, spend time with your friends, your family, and, you know, truly enjoy the moment. So
Absolutely.
I will be back next week. And
thank you, Chief, for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for all the transparency,
Thank you.
all the information. Fridays with the Finest. This is Chief Anna Lally over here, and always available to answer any questions. We'll be back next week. We'll have some more topics. Don't forget, you have fireworks issues, 847-289-2700. Go to the website and check out all the road closures. And we'll be back next week. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.